billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I am Ab Rahim from Boys Higher Secondary School, Tarathpora. Dear students, we are going to discuss about the same topic, that is government budget and the economy. And today our subtopic is structure of the budget, or we can say components of the budget. Dear students, this structure of the this budget includes a revenue budget and capital budget. A revenue budget and capital budget. Whereas components of the budget has more to includes budget receipts and budget expenditure. This budget receipts includes revenue receipt and capital receipt, while as this budget expenditure includes revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. Now, what is meant by this budget receipt? What is meant by the budget receipt? Budget receipt refers to estimated money received of the government from all sources during the financial year. Broadly, the budget receipts are classified as revenue receipts and capital receipts. Revenue receipts, what is meant by revenue receipts? Those money receipts of the government are known as revenue receipts, which satisfy two related characteristics. These receipts do not create any corresponding liability for the government. Tax receipt, for example, is a revenue receipt because it does not involve any corresponding liability for the government. Tax is unilateral or one-sided compulsory payment to the government. These receipts do not cause any reduction in assets of the government. For example, receipts of the government when it sells its shares of the companies like Marvati Udyog causes reduction in the assets of the government. These are therefore not to be treated as revenue receipts. In short, revenue receipts of the government are those money receipts which do not either create a liability or lead to reduction to assets. And number two is here, that is capital receipt. Capital receipts of the government are those monetary receipts which satisfy the following two characteristics. These capital create a liability for the government. For example, loan by the government are a liability. These are to be paid back. These are therefore the capital receipts of the government. These, number two, the receipts cause reduction in assets of the government. As stated earlier, money received by the government by selling its shares, say, of Marvati Udyog, causes reduction in the assets of the government. These are therefore to be treated as capital receipts. In short, capital receipts are those monetary receipts which either create a liability for the government or cause reduction in the assets of the government. Now, what are the capital receipts? Recovery of loans, borrowing of other liabilities, other receipts. Recovery of the loans offered to others are assets of the government. Borrowing and other liabilities, while lending creates assets, borrowing creates liability. According to the borrowings are to be treated as capital receipts. It may be noted that the government borrows money from the general public Number 1, the Reserve Bank of India. 2, number 3, the rest of the world. Now, dear students, other receptors, these includes items like disinvestment. It is the opposite of the investment. Disinvestment occurs when the government sells off its shares of public sector enterprises to the private sector. It involves transfer of ownership of the public sector enterprises to the private entrepreneurs, briefly called privatization. Money received through this investment is treated as capital receipt because it caused reduction in the assets of the government. Now, dear students, I hope that this lesson, this topic structure of the budget or component of budget is clear to you, and tomorrow I will come with new lecture, inshallah.